Once again, brothers and sisters, we're on Belvedere Street again, and I gave you a quick, small tour of what was inside this industrial building over here at Frederick and Belvedere. And as I stated before, don't adjust your TV screens and don't adjust your dials. What you're looking at is not a war zone or an area that has been struck by a natural disaster. This right here is on the east side of Detroit. And by the way, my name is Brother I Am Broke, the Urban Explorer. And right now we're looking at the old Packard plant. Over here on the east side. And what you can see is yards of debris. Yards and yards of debris. Now, as I stated before, when you're looking at stuff like this, you got to be very careful where you walk. Now, the other thing too is that a lot of these buildings, a lot of different activities have taken place. A lot of them, mostly all of them, have been illegal, where people have been basically coming in to strip the buildings of whatever left of value that's in them. And the other thing is too is that I remember when I used to work at many different companies, I remember some of the Caucasians or the white folks used to talk about how in some of these old industrial buildings, they used to have raids. I mean, yeah, raids, but raves. R-A-V-E-S. And the funny thing of it is, you know, a lot of these raves, you had to find out about them through the internet or through invitation only. It just wasn't one of them things where you walk up and you want to party. You know, they had a very sophisticated networking system. As we make our way around here, see a lot of the steel girders here, or the steel beams. They don't make beams like that anymore. As you can see, someone took a torch, a butane torch, or whatever kind of torch they use to cut these beams with, and got that steel. And then, of course, you know, you always have those that's gonna come and dump their trash. As I pan to the right, you know, and you never know what you're gonna find. And you know, as I talked about from the Frederick Douglass video, people ask me, well, brother, what would you do if you come across a dead body? I said, well, if I come across a dead body, I'm gonna call the police, because even those that have met untimely fates, either naturally or at the hands of their fellow man or through accident, they deserve to be respected, no matter what they done. You know, the other thing too that, you know, you got to be aware of too is when you're doing this type of exploration, is be aware of wild animals. Because I remember it's been many a times where I stumbled across packs of wild dogs, but that's the reason why I carry a stick and carry a few other measures of self-protection. See all the graffiti on the wall there. know, as I look around at this area, it just amazes me of all the abandoned structures that are all throughout the landscape here in Detroit. But not just Detroit, every other major urban area also. Once again, you see all the debris and all the trash. Now, the good thing about this camera that I'm holding, you can also take pictures while you're shooting or while you're filming. So that's a plus, where I don't have to, you know, put down my video camera to shoot still photos. I can do it all while I'm shooting the video or doing my videography. And that's the other thing too you gotta think about also, is that every picture or every video tells a story. And one of the interesting things that I like to do also is, after I watch the video and get the address, or most of the time I'll go on the internet and get a satellite image of the area, put in the address, and then, you know, once you get that address or that marker or the coordinates, you can go from there and then just scan either left to right, up and down. You can magnify it to be larger, or you can look at it from another view, from a map view, or you can look at it from a bird's eye view. Well, I think y'all have seen enough of this, so we're gonna move on. This is inside one of those structures that I was talking about. It's very spooky. People, you know, as I stated before, do a lot of dumping. They don't want to pay for the rubble to be hauled off. They rather dump. See the old pallets, tires. So forth and so on. Steady before you see a lot more graffiti. And as I stated before, a lot of these places tell a tale. You know, the other factor too, when I think about these old buildings and structures that are scattered throughout the landscape here in Detroit and everywhere else, they have become havens for those that are engaged in illicit activities such as prostitution, drug use, and abuse, and of the distribution and selling of different mind-altering substances. Once again, we're seeing the old Packard Plant. This is on the west side of the building, and we see all the devastation and destruction of how basically this place is just falling apart. Now, a lot of this stuff is basically where, you know, when they do demolition of old buildings and old houses, this is where a lot of truckers have started taking it to a legitimate dump. They basically dump it here in these old abandoned areas. And I'm gonna say this a lot throughout this documentary or this tour, that there's like a war. This is not a war zone, and this is not an area that's been affected by a natural disaster. So we're gonna step on to the next spot.
Keep rocking and swing.